You mentioned that there were initial struggles in your path, right? That you weren't like the best in the swimming team, and then you had all these doubts from society telling you that this is never going to work out for you, that you will never succeed in this life path. And typically, this is where most people fall, right? They say that, oh, well, I guess it's not meant for me. I'll go the conventional path. I'll do what people are asking me to do. And I think it's a very unique skill to be able to say, no, well, they might be telling me this is the way to live, but I see this vision for myself. And it's very hard to, I'd imagine, to live a life through like your own individual instincts and telling yourself that this is what I want to do. So how did you kind of overcome those moments where, people are telling you that this will not work out for you, those moments of big loss?
Um, I'll be honest with you, a lot. There's two parts. Obviously, my parents were huge in supporting me and making sure I knew whatever I put my mind to, my body and my physicality would accomplish. But the faith put into me by the staff right there at Petty with you was also key. And after that, it was, you know what, they told me I couldn't make the Petty team. I did. It almost became a point of pride for me to do that to everybody that said no. And everyone that was competing with me when they fell along the side, it only made me stronger. And let's face it, life's too short to follow it. There's living and there's being alive. I don't want to just be living. I want to be alive. I want, at the end of my days when I check in, I want St. Peter to be like, dang, Tristan, you worked it. Your body is at zero. There is nothing salvageable about it. You had an awesome life. And it's hard to tell at your age, but life goes so quickly and it's quite frankly too short to have regret. So set your mind and you will achieve what your heart desires. And I may have done it in the SEAL, but I know, we have brain surgeons, we've got politicians, we've got all kinds of incredible people from when I was there.
So I really
you
like
know
this. Yeah,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
all good. I like this distinction you bring up with living and being alive. It's very interesting. How would you describe it? Like, what does it feel like to be alive, like versus just living? And how would you say that you were able to escape just living and be alive? Like, what is it really? What constitutes the idea of like being alive?
Following your own path. It's all 9 to 5 is great. There's nothing wrong with it. Standard, a house, two cars. There's nothing wrong with that. I drive, a hybrid. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But the ability to think I want more, and not more in terms of I want more money, I want more physical beings, but more I want to have a blast while I'm doing things. And I want to take memories away that nobody else can say that they've done. I mean, how many people can say they jumped out of a plane at 4 a.m. in the dark, landed in the water, went on rebreathers, executed a mission, and then they were extracted at 10 a.m. I mean, you just can't make that kind of stuff up. And you know, while it's certainly absolutely taken its toll on me physically, I wouldn't trade that for the world because the back of a plane opens at 20,000 feet at night and it's freezing cold and you're looking into, a Marcel Marceau book that, the ultimate leap of faith is to jump. And I'm looking out the back end of a plane and they're like, go. And you're like, oh, heck yeah. You know what? I don't want to, but this is what life is about, and then later on that day when you're at the Waffle House having breakfast with the rest of the guys, it's like, that was awesome. I mean, where else are you going to replicate that? So, there are ways to accomplish that in politics, in building businesses, and doing any number of things in sports. But for me, it was I'd like to try something completely different. I mean, hence these boats behind me. How many people could say they've done it? Now, I had never intended to race this, but Billy was like, "Hey, it's time to get rid of my first race boat small motors. Let's put some real ones and let's make this a life experience for you." And I'm like, you know what? He's right. He's absolutely right. It's that's what life is. It's living it. It's making memories where, at the end of the day, when you're sitting down with your family, they're like, oh yeah, I remember when we did this and we did this and we went on that trip. It fills life. It fills the bowl of life.
Yeah, 100%. I read a book recently called Mastery by Robert Greene, and what it does is it breaks down like a lot of the masters of history, like Albert Einstein, Michael Faraday, like all the people that have really like mastered some kind of craft or some kind of art. And the common pattern I saw in each of the stories that they bring up is that they all formulated their own life path, and it was all driven by some kind of instinct that separated them from the people around them. That, you know, everyone is following the cookie cutter definitions of success where like you go to school, you go to university, you get a job, which can be really fulfilling, obviously, but if it's something you genuinely enjoy doing. But unfortunately, I feel like a lot of people today get stuck in zones where they're doing it just out of expectation when there's something inside of them that wants to do something else, but there's all these like limiting forces holding them back, right? And I see that in a lot of my friends as well, that they'll live their day doing the schoolwork that's necessary of them, doing the sports that's necessary of them, but not really driven by like a kind of internal like force or purpose that's telling them that this is like the thing that's bringing me that fulfillment. And I think I was like that for a long time too. But I think after reading this book and after like trying to start like new things, I found that I was able to access like some piece of that like internal force, like through wrestling at Petty and through working on these kind of projects, right? Because like
Yeah.
the fact that like, okay, I kind of wanted to start this project, but then there's obviously these forces that I waited for like 3 months before I did because I'm like, wait, but this reason and that reason and that reason. But then one day something inside you just says, let's just do it, right? And then you just do it, and then you realize like, wow, like this sense of fulfillment you get from working on something like this can make life like that much more enriching, right? When would you say you really like found that in your own life? Like was it sometime at Petty where you started to feel like this idea of being alive, or did it really take you all the way till
No.
you're at the SEALs? Or
So that's truly a fantastic point, and I don't want anyone to take away that I left Petty with laser focus. I left Petty with the core pieces I needed to get that laser focus, but it took me a little longer to mature mentally. So what a lot of people were doing, at 16, 17 at Petty swimming, where hey, you have to suffer to win. I wasn't there yet. It took me a little longer to get there, but when I got there, it was stronger. And as I looked and I saw, it became more of a you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. What have you got to lose? And that sort of that rolls into the three types of SEAL leaders that I've seen. You have the ones that just want to be comfortable. They don't really want to do anything. This is the status quo. I'm happy with it, and there's nothing wrong with that. And this is, let's call it, the three people of life. You have the people that are following a path, and it's a path to success. Um, they stay on it, don't deviate too much, and the formula of success will ensure that they have a complete and wholesome life. And then you've got those that are willing to take risks, the Elon Musks, the Steve Jobs, which is like, well, everyone's going down this way, but I want to go that way because no one's ever done it. And you know what? If I make a mistake, it's okay. I can just change the direction I'm going. And I think what ends up being is people become afraid to make mistakes, but we learn more through our mistakes and we end up stronger. You learn more by losing. I learned more not making the varsity team at Petty than I ever would have had I made it. It forced me to get stronger up here. And like I said, I don't know how many of my Petty counterparts have been ever helocast out of a helicopter 12 miles off the coast of San Diego at night, and they're like, see you when you get back. It puts me in rarefied company. I mean, not that I'm any better than anyone else, but no one else can say that. And that's what's fun about it, is taking that step and jumping out of the helicopter, with your arms crossed 20 feet, and you circle up with the guys. You're like, all right, I can see the lights on the shore. Everyone got fins. Let's go. And you just do it. There is no question about am I going to make it? Am I going to drown? It's no, the next thing that's going to happen to me is I'm going to be at that Waffle House having breakfast, and we're going to talk about how freaking awesome it was. And thus is Petty. It's like, don't be afraid to make a mistake and just go with it. So that's probably the key piece in there is you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and two, it's okay to make mistakes. That's how everyone gets better.
Yeah, I heard this quote recently that the expert of a field has made the most mistakes in the field.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I think
amazing.
that
Yeah.
it's that Malcolm Gladwell where it takes 10,000 hours of experience to become a true expert. I don't know if it's 10,000 hours, but the point is if you live it, you breathe it, and you execute it, you will become it. You will become that expert, whether that's computer programming, whether it's doing podcasts, whether it's social media, whatever it happens to be. If you focus on living every day, not going through the motions, but how can I make it better? How can I make it different? How can I continually process, improve? Heck yes.
Yeah, 100%. If you enjoyed that segment with Tristan Rizzi, then you're going to love the full 1 hour length podcast I recorded with him. It's going to be released this Sunday, January 14th, 2024 at noon. So make sure you hit the link in the description now so you don't miss it.